Guys, welcome to this episode of Building Whitetails. We are going to go over what can you do to really maximize your hunting opportunities and management opportunities. Really, it's management. The better management you have, the better hunting you have in regards to late season on your farm.
I've said it before, you'll hear me say it again, I will continue to say it. Help the deer do what deer want to do.
All right, so late season preparation, food, bedding. Guys, if you live in a state where supplemental feeding is legal, that is a super helpful tool to really help you get a lot of extra nutrition into your deer. I blend mineral in with my supplemental feed and a few other things to help combat disease. Put in some probiotics. Whether you think that's right or not, that's up to you and your management decisions on your own farm. But I don't rely solely on supplemental feeding. I also have standing corn, standing beans, a wide variety of greens, cereals, brassicas, clovers. Some people, they put up a feeder and they think that's good enough. And that's, if that's all you can do, if that's all you have time for, that's a very helpful tool to help, get some extra nutrition into your deer herd, especially as they're trying to recover from rut. The harder winter we have, the harder time they have adding weight back on, much like, maintain. They're just trying to maintain body weight. But then if we can really get them to where they're adding weight back on, it's going to really help the does, going into spring. It's going to help the bucks with antler development. The more stress you can take off of a deer going into next year, the better off that deer is going to be. So my buck, GP 2.0, he field dressed out at 226 pounds. My brother just shot, he was a 5.5-year-old buck. My brother just shot a buck we called Hooks, 6.5-year-old whitetail, and he field dressed out at 172 pounds, way under what typical field dress weights are. That's something that I would see, we might see off of a December deer that is run down excessively. Not November. Rut's not even fully over here yet, and this deer field dressed out at that. So I really want to encourage you guys to look at the food side of things. Like I said, if supplemental feeding is legal, that's awesome. I know I have friends that put out alfalfa bales, and deer, some farms they hit it, some farms they don't. And if you can't supplemental feed, guys, I know everyone's opportunities are different regarding their farms or, equipment, management, things of that nature. If you can have crops, for your deer, whether it's just an acre, 2 acres, it doesn't have to be a tremendous amount. I err on the side of too much because the last thing I want is the deer running out and leaving my farm because there's not enough food. So, that's really, where you need to focus in is how can I get food? What can I change next year based off of what I learned this year? This whole Building Whitetail series is, watching, observing, learning, correcting, and going forward with that. We talked about food, talking about bedding. This speaks pretty heavily for itself right here. To my left, I've got just kind of your regular old, this is brome grass with a little fescue and some blue stem in it. Pretty standard grass, comes up to your, mid-calf to your knee. Not a lot of cover, not a lot of thermal cover. Thermal is a huge thing when you get into the really cold, you're under, 20 degrees, so whatever, 10, 5, 0, whatever. But this is switchgrass on my right, mixed with big blue stem and Indian grass. This has I'm just sitting here trying to think of words of how this has changed my farm in regards to cover. Used to be I could stand right here and I could see all the way across my property. My whole property used to be planted to this right here. And I have come in and obviously over the series of Building Whitetails changed that about as radical as you can possibly change it. We've got food plots, we've got bedding areas, we've got sanctuaries that are, and my sanctuaries I try to plant this type of blend is on a lot of acres as much as I can. you know, but just because it's really so much cover for these deer that, you know, they can get in the nasty weather and just burrow in. And it's not far from food. I don't want the deer to have to travel. I think I said this before. I don't want the deer to have to travel a mile, you know, from who knows where to get here at night, because we got shed season coming up in February and March. You know, I want the deer to drop them here. I love going out and finding antlers. That's something to very much look forward to. The farther a deer has to walk, the more energy he has to burn just to, you know, make up for the travel to get to the food. So if I can keep all that close, or relatively close to some degree, the better off we're going to be. So it's really providing your deer a habitat that's as well-rounded as we possibly can. We've got kind of a shift coming in 2023 for building whitetails. The whole stories has been here at the lodge, my place. The 2023, and we'll hit on this more in the next episode, will be the last episode of 2022. And that's where I'll dive into more and tell you guys more about this. But we're going to take, you know, really kind of a clean slate, and we're going to, it's on a different piece of property that I own, and we're going to turn that hopefully into, it's a good hunting property, but into a much better hunting property. So I'm really stoked about that. I've been wanting to do projects on this place for years and years now. I had the opportunity to purchase it, and so now that has, you know, those opportunities are at hand. So I'm excited to jump in and show you guys what we can do to improve that.